Right, Reece, sorry I'm late, mate.
Bruv, where have you been? It's been months. What happened to our New Year's resolutions?
Well, I'm not going to lie to you, I got stuck. Someone robbed my M&Ms.
Someone robbed your M&Ms. Who? What? Why would someone... Who? Why?
Well, I don't know who it was, but all I can say is they were slim and shady.
Oh, fuck off.
Yes, guys, welcome back to the podcast. It's the first one we've actually done in person since the mukbang with Amber and George. And this is a complete new thing. We are doing true crimes, and this is the Madeleine McCann case.
The McCann case has become a phenomenon.
If you made a dozen movies out of this, nobody would believe them.
I've done thousands of cases. With the Madeleine case, I've seen the worst things a human being can see. The worst.
There's fear that a 3-year-old British girl has been abducted in Portugal.
If your child isn't safe at a resort, where is she safe?
The media made their daughter the most high-profile missing child in the world.
Significant person of interest.
Police say they are now treating a British man as a suspect.
They wanted me to confess. I actually felt I was being set up.
The police...
Like, true crime... Nothing gets better true crime than Madeleine McCann.
Bit of Maddie.
Yeah, you know, it's a British person. You know, a lot of the true crimes we look at are generally Americans. We've got a British one. You know, probably one of the most famous unsolved cases ever, and it happened during our lifetime. I remember when it happened when I was little as well, like posters up everywhere.
Well, you say it's unsolved, but I might have some new news for you.
Oi, oi.
I'll start with a little bit of background. Obviously, we've got the book that I'll write everything down on, as per usual. So, we are talking about the case of Madeleine Beth McCann, born on the 12th of May 2003. Her disappearance happened the night of May the 3rd, 2007, not long before her 4th birthday. She was taken from her bed in a holiday apartment in a resort in Praia da Luz in the Algarve region of Portugal. The Daily Telegraph described it as the disappearance with the most heaviest...
It's been a while.
The most heavily reported missing person case in modern history.
Yeah.
Okay. Her whereabouts are still unknown, although a German prosecutor in the last few weeks, months, believes she is dead and believes he knows who it is.
Damn. Well, if this is true, obviously, one, sad that she's dead, though at the same time, maybe a good thing in terms of that, or what the alternative was in that sort of situation. Yeah, it's a sticky one, isn't it?
It's a bit of a sticky one
still.
Well, let's talk about the alternative, which was put a case of, it was Kate and Jerry McCann, her parents, who ironically refused to take part in a Netflix documentary, which, to your conspiracy theorists, hello, and many other people, set straight in their minds that this might have been a job where they could have accidentally killed her on purpose, or sold her to ring of paedophiles, or whatever. These were quite wealthy people.
Yeah.
Just saying, they're both doctors, they were both in that profession, and are quite, as we see in the media, quite cold people.
Yeah.
Which I think is a fair judgment. Before we get into a bit of the background, I will give you the name of the suspect that we will be speaking about in this, because we will be speaking about some very, very dark things, and this is a warning now. If you are scared of a lot of things that are going to come up, including murders, rapes, and child molestation, please switch off now and go and check out one of our other podcasts. They will be coming back.
Yeah,
okay.
there are some lighter ones.
Yes, there are a lot lighter ones. This is a very dark topic. So, background of the story. They went to Praia da Luz in the Algarve, Portugal. They put their 3 kids to bed, including Madeleine McCann, and they'd go out to have tapas and drinks with friends that were also staying at the resort, or people they had met at the resort.
Great parenting.
Bear in mind, there was a babysitting service at this resort.
And they didn't use it.
They reportedly checked on the children once an hour, and they would take it in shifts. The night of this disappearance, the night of the disappearance on the 3rd of May 2007, Kate and Jerry McCann. Jerry McCann,
writing.
yeah, Jerry McCann reportedly checked on the children and said everything was fine. An hour later, Kate was going to go, but she didn't. She didn't go.
Yeah.
A friend who was going to check on their children said he'd poke his head in because the back door was left unlocked. He opened the door. Do you think he looked in the room? Would you have looked in the room? Would you have looked in the room? He didn't even look in the room. He said he heard a noise coming from the room and suspected it was a child turning over in bed. So he left it there. An hour after this, Kate McCann, the mother, goes to have a look, goes into the room, notices that Madeleine is missing. Wee little Maddie has gone walkabouts. She runs back to him, bear in mind, no evidence at this point, and says, she's been taken, she's been taken.
Interesting language.
Very interesting language. To caveat this, they did a lot of interviews in a Netflix documentary about the disappearance of Madeleine McCann, which Kate and Jerry McCann refused to be in. For whatever reason, they refused. One suggestion that was brought up, as they were both doctors, or worked in the medical profession, I should say, that they were giving the kids Calpol to sleep, because a lot of parents would, if you're trying to have a good time, a bit of alone time, give them a bit of medicine, make them sleep all the way through the night.
Maybe up for the night,
This was backed up by the fact of when the whole breakdown happened and they realised Madeleine was missing, and they rubbished the crime scene, by the way, by touching everything and moving everything, including closing the shutter that Madeleine was apparently taken out of, if that is the case. They even closed that. But the other two younger children did not wake this whole time.
What? When they were shouting and screaming
yes,
around the room? Right, okay.
They didn't wake. Reportedly. I have to say reportedly, or allegedly.
Heavy sleepers.
Heavy sleepers, or a lot of medicine. Big up Calpol. Through this time, towards the end of it, they made a statement and they went down to speak to the media. They spoke to the media. Kate holding a doll very close to Madeleine that she loved. She was holding it tightly. Jerry gave a very bedside mannered doctor sort of speech about his daughter going missing. One thing that did help their case, if they did do it, was the police incompetence. If you go back, you can watch the Netflix documentary. It's about 4 episodes too long, and it is a great advert for the Algarve.
I went to the Algarve 2 years after that.
Did you? You could have been one of the kids.
Came back though.
Oh. I'm not going to make the joke I was going to.
God, isn't that awful?
Yeah, you can go back and watch the documentary. There is a lot of stuff that you don't need to know in the documentary. It doesn't make sense.
Just trying to flesh it out.
They're just trying to flesh it out. They accused a lot of people. They raided one guy's house 3 times, which to me makes a lot of sense, because apparently they were digging up his garden looking for Madeleine. It's like they got back to the station. They were like, oh, so we've done the raid. Did you check the oven? No, I didn't.
Turn around.
Turn around. Let's go back. You didn't check the oven, for God's sake. Okay, but that now could all change due to a German suspect, and by German law and privacy laws, he is being called Christian B, to cover up his last name. Okay. Some of the reports I've got for you are from Sky News.
Sky Sports News.
Sky Sports News. Just big Jim White there. It's transfer deadline day and she's still missing. A German prosecutor, Hans Christian Waltz, says police have been looking for information on Christian B for a long time, approximately 4 years. They've already built up a fact file on him before asking the public for help. They didn't name the suspect, but it quickly emerged that he was a 43-year-old drifter who is known under German privacy laws as Christian B. The prosecutor has said in the past, whilst conducting a murder investigation into Madeleine McCann, that he believes and has evidence that she died in Portugal, but hasn't explained why he is so sure to her parents.
Okay.
Okay. So that's the prosecutor and what the prosecutors had to say. So basically, he said there's enough evidence to prove that she died in Portugal, and there's enough evidence and enough fact to put it to Christian B. Okay. This is where we find out a little bit more about Christian B. Okay. He lived in the Algarve around the time Madeleine disappeared.
Was he living out of a camper van?
He was living out of a camper van, Reece.
There we go.
He was a convicted paedophile.
Ah.
Another thing. His mobile phone was detected in the area hours prior to Madeleine's disappearance. There's two things linking in. Pedo. Phones went off nearby.
Proximity.
Right?
Oh, brilliant. Pedo and proximity.
The two P's.
There we go.
Well, here's another one for you. It's not a P, but it's quite a dodgy thing to do. The next day, he changed the registration on one of his vehicles. No one knows why. He just changed it. Okay? He is also alleged to have confessed to abducting and murdering Madeleine McCann to a criminal associate in Greece. This associate was later arrested and by Scotland Yard. If I keep tripping up here, we're going to have to restart, but we're not going to. He was arrested by Scotland Yard. Arrested by Scotland Yard and was questioned. This criminal associate was the one that told Scotland Yard that Christian B had confessed to abducting and murdering Madeleine McCann. This is where the investigation really starts into Christian B.
Yeah.
Okay? Here's a bit of a background on him. He is currently serving 7 years in prison under a rape charge of an elderly American widow in Portugal in 2005. He denies all involvement in Madeleine's disappearance. His lawyer said, "My client is innocent in the Madeleine McCann case. Whether we believe this or not is yet to be decided."
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, what we got so far? In the area, currently inside for rape of a woman in Portugal in 2005.
And his phone pinged hours before.
And it's hours before, and he changed his registration number.
That is sus.
It's sus.
More
Well,
sus
if we're
than Connor's pronunciation of words today.
yeah, if we're playing Among Us, I'm calling him. He's the imposter.
Trust.
Okay. There is also reports that he had what is been named in multiple tabloids, which I don't always trust because it's the tabloids. That he had what was called a chilling dungeon, a 10-foot dungeon under an apartment that he owned, which he reportedly told a friend and neighbour he wanted to make soundproof walls in this basement, like that guy in Austria.
Ah, yes.
Like that guy in Austria. Where does that ring a bell? Oh yeah, Joseph Fritzl. Okay, this is where it could get a bit interesting, because the prosecutor, Mr. Waltz, is also investigating Christian B over three other allegations in Portugal. 2 of them sexual assaults, and another rape of an Irish holiday worker at a resort. Waltz has also said, "We are speaking with witnesses and interviewing lots of people, and we are making progress." He's also quoted as saying he is 100% certain that Christian B abducted, murdered, and may have sexually assaulted Madeleine McCann. All of this is alleged to this date, but he is in prison and under investigation for 3 other allegations. Reece.
Oh my goods.
That's the breakdown. Where do we go from here?
Well, let's talk about the dungeon. So where's the dungeon again?
It's in one of his properties in Germany.
In Germany. Right. So
there's another great podcast. Sorry to cut you off. There's another great podcast which I will link down below. It's these two women. They did a 2.5-hour podcast on this very topic.
Yeah, shits on ours.
Yeah, shits on us a little bit. Say hello to half an hour. Yeah, they did a brilliant podcast where they spoke about this dungeon. Apparently, he was building a basement, and on the plot of land that he had for his apartment house, whichever it was not allowed to, so was told to fill it in. That was never actually raided in the first time that he was arrested. It was only raided after all of this had come to light. And that's where they found it.
Bloody hell. So there's one contradiction here.
Yes.
Dungeon in Germany. Police are sure that Madeleine died
In Portugal.
So, well, he definitely had a dungeon, right? But
Yes.
whether Madeleine went in it,
Yes. So
unlikely, very unlikely.
very unlikely, because it is a German prosecutor that is doing this, and has said he's 100% certain that she died in Portugal.
Yeah.
Whether she died in Portugal and was taken to Germany, we do not know, because obviously
Yeah.
Portugal linked to Spain, linked to mainland Europe, very easy to
Yeah,
get.
and obviously
up.
EU, you just drive through it like it's one country anyway.
And this is one thing that does help the McCann's case in thinking it might not have been them, because there was no roadblock put up for hours to stop anyone crossing the border from Portugal to Spain or leaving the Algarve at all.
This is the
Night of the disappearance.
Portuguese police incompetence again.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I give them a little bit of leeway. They're not used to this sort of thing. They're used to like, oh, my cat's gone missing.
Yeah.
Because it's the little Algarve in Portugal. If you have you watched the Netflix documentary?
I have not. No, I'm the guy that doesn't know much.
That's fair enough. If any of you have, you'll understand what I mean by this. The police officer in it, he ended up writing a book.
Yes, I've heard about the book.
Okay, and he was convinced that they did it. He seemed a very lovable, want to go down the pub and have a pint with sort of guy, not a copper. In the nicest way.
Yeah.
To be fair to him, he got a lot of slack for being sort of like overweight, all this stuff. He's lost a lot of weight. He looks good. And the McCanns actually never returned to Portugal after the disappearance of Madeleine.
Really?
Apart from to try and stop this book coming out.
So, they didn't come to Portugal to look for their daughter.
They fled pretty quickly. They stayed for a few days. That if you watch the documentary, it will break it all down for you, show you the dates, and it's actually quite well how Netflix have
Oh,
done.
that's my dinner.
And that's your dinner. We'll put a pause to this.
Oh. So,
We're back from our little break.
I've got pizza.
Yeah, so as I was saying, the police incompetency wasn't great, but the McCanns did not stick around for long. And also never returned. And if you look at a lot of the videos, a lot of the clips, they're very cold. Jerry seems to be a man that is a very controlling human.
Yeah.
And there's even one interview where he rips his mic off and storms out of the interview, which I'll show little pictures from the family and everything while we're going, because I am actually decent at editing now. That's why we're taking so long a break, so I can fucking learn how to do my job.
No, that's the excuse.
Yeah, yeah, that's the excuse. So he actually rips his mic off and walks out after he was asked a question not by police, by a reporter, about how he felt about sniffer dogs finding Decava dogs. I even said that wrong as well then.
Cadaver dogs.
There we go. Finding the scent of blood and human remains in, well, some sort of remains, they were believed to be human remains, in the hotel apartment, and also in their rent-a-car, which they got, I think it was 10 days after Madeleine went missing. Yeah. But it's one of those ones. It's a bit of a sticky one. There's a lot of things that have said, did they sell Madeleine to Christian B?
It's no, he can't be that evil, surely.
But, and then there's other things going, well, if Christian B is part of this, whether he's done it on his own and taken Madeleine, or is he part of a group?
Yeah, like a network.
And if he's part of a group, this is why I don't believe he was part of a group. Due to the fact of...
He gets caught all the time.
That, and the fact there's also 2 small children sitting in there. That would be like a bank robber going into a bank and robbing the till. At the convenience store next door.
It's a very good analogy.
Right? If you're there, you're a well-oiled machine, and this is what you do, you rob the whole fucking bank.
You go for the vault.
Exactly. Or, if he was on his own, taking one child makes it easier, you don't get caught carrying 3 small children. There was obviously reports that night of people seeing someone carrying what they believed was to be Madeleine McCann. But then again, that's a lot of people just going, yeah, I saw something.
Yeah, exactly. People like to think they're helping, don't they?
Yeah, that's always the way. So, we are going to wrap it up on the fact of Christian B is now looking like Madeleine McCann's abductor and murderer. In a way, it's good for the family to know that there is closure.
I do hope that it's... Yeah.
I'd rather it be this way than it was the parents that did it.
Yeah.
But then I'd rather her do what happened like 30 odd years ago, where a woman disappeared for 18 years and then walked into a police station with her abductor going, yeah, I've been away for 18 years, I'm married and I've got a kid. That would be a lot nicer of a way. Because obviously there's been reports of people seeing her at football games or seeing her on the street, or there was that TikTok that went round because Madeleine had like a birthmark on her leg and birthmark in her eye, and people seeing people that had the same things or similar stuff.
That's the thing, like, nobody... If she's still alive and she's grown up or whatever, she wouldn't remember who she was.
Well, that's very true. There was one TikTok I came across, and this is when you can tell, like, you're bored at 1 a.m. after finishing a Saturday night work shift and you're waiting for the managers to close up, and you've done all of your cleaning. I did. My cleaning was done. And it was a girl who grew up in Praia de Luz, in the Algarve in Portugal. Blonde hair, blue eyes with a birthmark in an eye.
Shit.
And all her friends at school would bully her because they said that she was Madeleine McCann. And it was like she grew up, I think it was a half-hour like trek away from where Madeleine went missing. This obviously can be now completely null and void by the fact that Christian B most likely abducted and murdered Madeleine in the region of 2003 to 2005, because the rape that he is currently serving for happened in Portugal in 2005. Anything left to say on this case, Reece? Or have we just solved the Madeleine McCann case?
You know what? It's so many layers, isn't it? And there's so many potential theories. And I think, you know, it's fun to come up with all these theories, but at the end of the day, this is a real person, innocent, you know, poor person in Madeleine. And, you know, at the end of the day, this Christian B one looks the most likely because it's the one that the professionals, like actual good professionals, not these Portuguese local police, like actual professionals think it is, and they've obviously, that's their lives, that's what they do, you know, and who are we to sit in our underpants? You know what, in previous, well actually we're not sat in underpants now.
Yeah, I'm sat in football shorts, so I'm having to go football, and you've just come from work.
Yeah, but yeah, it's I don't know what I was trying to say, to be honest, but this Christian B one looks the most likely, and I hope it gets solved. Will it ever get properly put to bed? With some cowbell.
So
sorry, I couldn't resist. Yeah,
we're going with Christian B. We're going with the professionals and saying it was Christian B, aren't we? So we can say
The German efficiency.
the German efficiency and the complicated podcast have solved the Madeleine McCann case.
Irish, Scotland Yard, Metropolitan Police, Thames Valley.
Just anyone.
Just
hire
naming,
us.
just naming different
Just
police
name different.
branches. Oh.
So that's it for this week.
Mm.
If you'd like to see more of these, what we'll call unsolved mysteries, we might even do some solved mysteries. We'll let you know.
You know what, Con? I just want to say, it's been great to be back doing a podcast in person.
It's great being back.
Unfortunately, one of the drawbacks is you can't sit in your pants anymore.
We
Like
could,
like we did,
but
it'd be a bit
weird.
odd. Be a bit odd, but yeah, it's been great. It's been great to be back.
It is good to be back.
You know, it was easier for us to do podcasts before in lockdown when we had nothing to do. But it's nice that even though we have our busy schedules, which we do, we're still getting in, making time, and yeah, I've been so busy that Connor's come around mine.
Yeah, because normally we were thinking of just finding some random field or somewhere to just sit and film, which you might see. We might be taking the podcast on the road. When I get my place, we'll probably take it there. We don't know yet, but leave a like on this video. Comment below what you thought about this case, what you think about our opinions, what you think about what the German prosecutor in the case thinks. Subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you soon. Peace.
Cheers.